Hi everyone, my name is Maddie, welcome back to my channel and welcome to this video where I'm going to be reacting to an old 5 stars prediction video and see if I've read the books or what I thought of them. So as some of you may know, I did actually start this YouTube channel about 2.5 years ago. I made about 10 videos across 2 months and then stopped again because I got too busy with university life, and then restarted it about 4 months ago now, maybe? I'm losing track. I think about 4 months ago. And I actually have almost all of my old videos privated apart from 2, so you can't actually watch this video, though I could be persuaded to put it back up. But back then, on the 23rd of June 2018, so almost 2.5 years ago, I did make a 5-star predictions video. And I have no idea which books I put on it. I think I remember 2 of the books, but I could be wrong. But I don't know if I've read them because I don't know what was on them. So I'm going to watch back my old video, see what books I put on it, if I have read them, and if I have read them, was I right? I have no idea what books are going to be on here because my reading taste has changed a lot in the last couple of years, like a lot. I read a lot less YA now, I read a lot more adult, I read more fantasy. I used to read quite a lot of contemporary as well, even though I still do. I don't know, my reading taste just feels like it's changed quite a lot. So I have absolutely no idea if the books I've put on there, if I have or haven't read them, are going to be ones I'd still be interested in if I've not read them, or ones I did like, ones I think I would like now. I don't know. So I'm going to react and see what we think. And then I'm thinking maybe very soon I'm going to make a new 5-star prediction video because I enjoy them and they're just good fun. But I guess let's get back into watching, what, 19-year-old me? 20-year-old me? I think I just turned 20 here maybe. And see which books I thought I was gonna 5-star and see if I was right. I hope I was right, but I really don't know. I also have no idea how many books I put in this video. I seem to remember that I did 5, but I guess we'll find out, so let's start watching. Okay, so I've got my laptop set up down there. You can't see it. Apologies if you can hear it whirring. This laptop is so unbelievably dead, but it's easier than setting up on my PC, so we're using the laptop. So let's start watching. Hi
everyone, my name is Maddie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. For today's video, I thought it would be interesting to do a little discussion video, which I've seen a few people do something very similar to, which is basically my 5-star predictions for books which I will probably be reading relatively soon.
I'm nervous at the fact that I thought I was going to be reading these books relatively soon, because I don't trust that I did at all, and I feel like I may have just straight up lied, because honestly, when do I ever stick to lists like this? I'm absolutely useless, and my reading changes too often to make promises like that. We'll see. Also, I look so young. I didn't think I looked any different, but like I look so young. Oh my god, I can't get over it. Anyway, continuing.
I've got about 6 books I want to talk about today, which I think are likely to be 5-star, or even if not quite 5-star, like very, very much some of my favourite books that I've read, and I'm really, really excited to get to all of them. To start off with, I think I'm going to talk about the book which I've had longest out of all of these, and that is Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor.
I was so right. I can't get over it. I can't believe I said, wait, let me just grab it. I said Strange the Dreamer. This is indeed one of my favourite books of all time. Oh yay, I was right. Okay, I'm going to keep watching and see why I said it, and then we'll discuss how much I love this book, because I like discussing that.
Earlier this year, I read the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy by Laini Taylor, and I absolutely adored it, so much more than I could have ever expected.
I did.
And especially her writing style, it's just so beautiful and lyrical, and I really love it. And because of that, I am so excited to read basically anything else she puts out, and currently, that is Strange the Dreamer. I know very little about this book. I know it follows a character called Lance of Strange, and it has some...
Did I just get his name wrong? I think I just got the main character's name wrong. Wait. No way! I'm going back. Wait.
Character called Lance of Strange, and...
Why did I think he was called Lance of? His name's Laszlo! Okay, so apparently I can read the synopsis very successfully. I bet someone said that in a video and I just copied them. I hope, otherwise that's really stupid. But yeah, okay, just on what we've seen so far. So yes, I loved Daughter of Smoke and Bone. I still love Daughter of Smoke and Bone. Keep your eye out for something coming soon to do with Daughter of Smoke and Bone, for anyone who's interested in reading it. I'm dropping some hints. I love it so much and agree. The writing, I'm still interested in anything that A. Taylor puts out, so yeah, I was so right. But let's see what I thought the synopsis was, because honestly, I'd refused to watch anyone explain what this book was about because I didn't want to be spoiled for it. So let's see what I had gathered, because I'm not sure what I would have got by this point before reading it, because honestly, I still don't know how to describe it because I don't want to spoil anyone, so let's see what younger me said.
And it has something to do with a library. That is all I know. That is all
Nothing.
I want to know. Amy Taylor never has much of a synopsis in her books. They always seem very vague and mystical. And I think that's intentional. Her books work better when you go in knowing nothing. Like, I mean, all this book said on the back is, it was impossible, of course, but when did that ever stop any dreamer from dreaming? I mean, it tells you nothing, and I don't think it should. And I am so excited to get to this, whatever it may be. I'm pretty sure it's fantasy of some description. And I am so excited, especially as Muse of Nightmares is coming out later this year. I really think now is the time to read this so I can get Muse of Nightmares as soon as it comes out.
Okay, so off to a brilliant start. I did predict one of my favourite books of all time would be one of my favourite books of all time, which is Strange the Dreamer. I have read Strange the Dreamer. I did actually read it not very long after this at all, like probably the next month. And I did then actually get an arc of Muse of Nightmares, so I read that even before it came out, and I love it, and I need to reread it. I love it so much. This does follow Laszlo Strange, not Lancelot Strange. Someone explained how I got to that in the last video. But it follows him, who is the librarian at this big library, and he is obsessed with a city called Weep, and then this opportunity arises for him to possibly go to Weep, and it all kicks off from there. I don't want to say more, because you need to read it to find out. It's worth it. But yes, I was so right predicting this to be a 5-star book. So right. Bang on. Let's see if that luck continues, because I don't think it's going to. Okay, on to whatever the second book might be.
The next book I really think will be a 5-star read for me is Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. I read Solitaire by Alice Oseman pretty much as soon as it came out, when she wasn't really known as an author, just because there was an event at my local Waterstones where I got to meet her and get books signed, and obviously that was the only book she had out at the time, and I remember reading and loving it, though I don't really remember that much about it. And since then she's put out 2 other books, this and then another one which, I Was Born for This, I think is the title. And
I actually
have
that
heard
one.
Amazing things about this. And I think one of the things I'm really looking forward to is the age range that this follows. A lot of YA would follow characters who are maybe 15 to 18, whereas this character's at university, which makes them just that little bit older and closer to my own age, and I think that's going to be an aspect I really enjoy.
Okay, so I just went to grab my copy of Radio Silence. I have read this. I gave it a 4-star. It wasn't quite a 5-star for me. However, I do think it might be now. For whatever reason, there were a few bits of this I didn't love, but I think it'd be more up my street now, so it's definitely one I'm planning to reread at some point to see if it changes my rating. But yes, as I said, I'd read Solitaire, I liked it. I've actually also read I Was Born for This since, which I gave 5 stars. I really liked that. And I completely agree with my reasoning with this being aimed at slightly older people, or at least following slightly older characters. That is still completely true. I am now 22, but when I read YA, I much prefer reading about the sort of 17, 18-year-olds than I do the younger ones. I still love reading about 15, 16-year-olds. There's still some gorgeous stories. Just being a bit older myself, I love reading about the uni experience, and this does follow a character, or multiple characters, I don't quite remember, who are going off to university. So I was definitely right about that, and I definitely agree. You will notice I have a different edition now. I did actually stupidly get rid of the original edition I had when trying to buy all the matching covers, which I do regret, but too late. I do have all these covers now. Okay, let's see if I said anything else about this.
Again, I don't know too much about the plot of this, but in general I do prefer going into the books not knowing too much, so that's definitely ideal for me. No. But I know it has something to do with podcasts, which is really interesting. I've never listened to podcasts too much, but I definitely watch a lot of BookTube and follow a lot of social media sort of things. So I think it's definitely an aspect that would interest me, and it's something I'm really fascinated to read about. And honestly, I love Alice Oseman both as a person and as an author, so I am so excited to read more of her stuff. And I wouldn't be surprised pretty much as soon as I read this if I try and pick up And I Was Born for This, because I'm just so excited to read more of her work.
Okay, so yeah, that all still holds with Alice Oseman. My thoughts have not changed. I still love her. I still read all her books. She's great. Yeah, she's great. But on to book number 3. Let's see what I chose.
To read more of her work. The next book I'm super keen to get to, and I'm almost certain will be a 5-star read for me, is Scythe by Neal Shusterman.
Okay, yeah.
I've never read anything by Neal Shusterman, but I have heard the synopsis of so many of his books, and every single time I hear one, I instantly want to read it. For example, his Unwind trilogy, or he has a book coming out later this year or early next year called Dry, and all of them I want to read. But I'm going to start with Scythe because I think this is the one that really appeals to me the most.
Okay, so again, still agree with that. I have read Scythe. I'm doing well with actually having read the books I put on this list. I am shocked. I gave this 4 stars. I gave the sequels 4.5, both 2 of the sequels. I did like this. I'm doing well for words here. I did like this. There were a few bits that weren't my favourites, but it was good. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more on my reread, I think. I still love the premise of it completely. There's just, I think the romance just... The romance didn't need to be a thing in this book. It was good in books 2 and 3, did not need to be a thing in book 1. But I do absolutely agree with what I said about all of his concepts of his books sound really interesting. I have since heard some really bad things about the Unwind trilogy, so I probably will not pick up that series. Dry I do have and still want to read. I think Challenger Deep I also quite want to read. But I do agree, the synopses of all his books sound really good, so I can completely see why I said that 2 years ago.
I don't know too much. I know it's a dystopian future where humans have basically conquered everything, including death. So the only way you die is when a scythe is sent and you are killed. I don't know more than that. I think this follows 2 teens who are selected to train as scythes, but I have actively avoided finding out more than that about this book.
Always avoid trying to find out what books are about.
I love going into a book not really knowing much other than a very basic premise.
Exactly.
And for me,
still
I think
the same,
it really
not
just
changed.
adds to the reading experience, and so I am so excited to get into this one. I think one of the most exciting aspects about this book for me is the fact that it's dystopian, but not necessarily done in the same way as many of the classic dystopian books we're familiar with, such as the Hunger Games series or Divergent, because those very much follow the chosen one trope. There's one person who ends up basically breaking the society and doing something spectacular. From what I know about this anyway, that seems to be much less the case, and it's these people dealing with the society as it is instead of necessarily changing it. I might be wrong if you've read this.
That's actually quite true, especially for the first book. It does kind of include people going against the society because both Citra and Rowan don't necessarily agree with how the Scythes work. But I do agree with that, especially for books 2 and 3 though. That becomes less true. It becomes more about changing the society and noticing its flaws and fixing it. But it does still feel like in a very different vein to things like Hunger Games and Divergent, where it's like a big revolution kind of thing. This does still feel quite different. It feels like more of a like systemic change, which needed to happen. And it does happen in quite a dramatic way. And actually, I have to remember the ending, like, it's a bit mad, but it is quite different. So I see why I thought that, and I think it is actually kind of true. So that's quite interesting. I didn't realise I'd thought that 2 years ago, but there you go.
Might be wrong if you've read this. You may be thinking I'm talking absolutely crazily right now. But at least for me, that's something that definitely appeals to me about this book and the premise and just everything, and I cannot wait to get to it, which I'm pretty sure I'm going to be saying a lot of times in this video. The next book that I think is definitely going to be a 5-star read for me is He Forgot to Say Goodbye by Benjamin Alire Sands.
Ooh! I've not read this yet. I'm gonna go grab it. Okay, so we have finally got to a book I have not read, which is He Forgot to Say Goodbye by Benjamin Alire Sands. At the time of filming that video, had read Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. I have since read The Inexplicable Logic of My Life, which I didn't quite like as much as Aristotle and Dante, but still really enjoyed. I still haven't read this. I do also own one other Benjamin Alire Sands book, which I haven't read yet. So I'm really intrigued to see, other than the fact it's Benjamin Alire Sands, why I said this would be a 5-star, because I don't even really know much what this is about, but it's Benjamin Alire Sands and I like his writing. So I agree there's probably still a good chance this would be a high-rated book for me, but let's see what my reasoning was last time.
I've only read one of Benjamin Alire Sands' books, and that is Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. But that is one of my all-time favourite books. I love it so much. And one of the aspects I really enjoyed was the writing style.
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely a very good chance that this is going to be one of my favourite books as well, and almost certainly will be a 5-star read. Again, this book follows a young boy who's going through a really tough time, which just seems to be a bit of a theme in Benjamin Alire Sands' books. I don't know too much. I know this boy's father left and his brother's really struggling, and it's just him coping with everything that's going on. But I cannot wait to read it. As I said, I adore Benjamin Alire Sands' writing. I think it was just absolutely stunning. And so I'm really, really excited to read something else by him. I am slightly cautious because one of his other books, The Inexplicable Logic of My Life, seems to get some mixed reviews, certainly not as good as Aristotle and Dante. And so I am slightly worried that I won't love this as much as I hope I will, but I would be surprised if I don't love it.
Okay, that's fair. It is true, inexplicable logic of my life, I didn't like quite as much, and it doesn't get as good reviews, but I did very much enjoy it. So I mean, I'm still planning to pick this up at some point. I just haven't got around to reading Benjamin Leroy Sands for a while. I'll pick it up eventually. I don't know when, but I think that was a fair prediction. But yeah, oops, haven't read that one yet. Let's see if I have read book number 5. Are we up to book 5, maybe? Yeah, book 5.
This next book is a book I've been wanting and meaning to get to for such a long time, and that is A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab.
This is one of the ones I knew was on there.
I have never actually read any V.E. Schwab, but I currently own 7 of her books and really want to buy Vicious as well when I get 8. I need to get on and read some V.E. Schwab. Everyone raves about her writing. From what I've heard from people, it sounds exactly like my cup of tea, and honestly I can't quite believe I've not got to these books yet. So soon I'll read this, and I cannot wait.
Okay, so I have read A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I gave it 4 stars and the 2 sequels 4.5 each. I really enjoyed them. It wasn't my absolute favourite, but very strong series. I have read a lot of V.E. Schwab though. I have read Darker Shade of Magic series, I've read the This Savage Song Our Dark Duet series, I don't know what that's called. I've read the Archived series, I've read both Vicious and Vengeful. I've read one of her middle grade books. Are there others I've read? So yeah, I have now read 10 of her books and have given at least 4 stars to every single one of them. So yeah, I like her writing a lot. I've 5-starred quite a few of them, not all of them. I think the This Savage Song Our Dark Duet is definitely my favourite of her series and definitely the one I want to reread the most. But yes, I have read A Darker Shade of Magic. I'm being lazy and not getting it because it's all the way at the top of this shelf and I'm on the floor, so I'm going to stay here. You can see it in this video. It's here. But yeah, other than the fact that V.E. Schwab is very popular, let's see why I thought I was going to love this book so much.
Wait. As far as I can tell, this is a fantasy book that follows someone who can travel between these 4 different Londons. I'm not quite sure whether it's classed as time travel or alternate reality travel or what, but I'm just kind of going to go with it because it sounds fascinating. I've heard the word pirates thrown around.
Yeah,
that's all I know.
Pirates.
I'm so intrigued and so excited. People rave about this series and there would not be as much hype as there is if it wasn't amazing. And as I said, it sounds exactly like something I would love. So I really, really can't wait to get to it, and I can pretty much guarantee that I'm going to fall in love with this series, and fall hard.
Okay, 2 things on that. First of all, I did fall in love with the series. I read the whole series really quickly. I really enjoyed it. Good series. I am laughing at the fact that I was like, oh, there can't be this much hype without it being brilliant. I love BookTube. BookTube is amazing, and they do hype up some very deserving books. But I do think sometimes books get really, really, really hyped just because they get hyped and everyone's reading at the same time, not necessarily because it's that good. Not often, not always, occasionally. So don't necessarily agree with that statement, but it does also still hold true to an extent that obviously the books that are getting really hyped and really good reviews tend to be good books because otherwise people wouldn't love them. So yeah, wasn't too far off on that prediction, was definitely right with V.E. Schwab being a new favourite author, even if that wasn't my favourite of her series. And that is actually the most recent V.E. Schwab I've read. I read 7 of her books before getting to that series. That's actually the last of hers that I've read. So yeah, oops, but I did it. I've also just realised this video is going up the week that Addie LaRue comes out, so like by the time you're watching this, I will probably have read another V.E. Schwab, or at least be reading it very soon and probably freaking out. So just lots of V.E. Schwab going on. I'll have read 11 of her books soon. 9? I don't know how many I've read. Lots of V.E. Schwab. We like her. She's great. Okay, and on to the final one. I have a guess for what I put on here, and if it's what I'm guessing, I've definitely not read it yet.
The last book I want to talk about, I don't actually have because it's not out yet, and that is What If It's Us by Adam Silvera and Becky Albertalli.
Yeah, of course I put that on there.
So unbelievably excited about this book. It sounds like my perfect book. It's coming out in October, which is so far away, but I'm just going to have to wait, and I will be shocked if there isn't a 5-star read.
Okay, so I completely forgot to put this on there. For some reason I thought I'd put Night Film on there. I don't know why, I just know it was a book I was obsessed with at the time because it looked really cool. But yeah, What If It's Us by Adam Silvera and Becky Albertalli. I have indeed read this book. I think I gave it a 5-star. Let's check Goodreads, I don't remember. Yeah, I gave it 5 stars. I don't know if that would hold right now. I did read this when it came out, which was 2 years ago now? Oh my god, as if it came out 2 years ago. But I did read this then, and my tastes have changed quite a lot. I don't think I would still give this with 5 stars, but I do still agree. I love almost all of Adam Silvera's books. I've read all of them and loved almost all of them, 5-starred most of them. I have only read one book from Becky Albertalli, and I liked it all right. It's not my favourite, but I love her. She's great. So yeah, this is set in New York and had a kid obsessed with musical theatre. Like, anyone that knows me knows that's my dream book. So, and it's LGBT, of course. I mean, think about the authors. But yeah, that was a solid prediction, but let's see why I predicted it.
Everything I've ever read from Adam Silvera was 5 stars. The one book I read from Becky Albertalli I really enjoyed as well. And honestly, just the plot of this book sounds like my dream book.
Yeah.
This book follows two boys in New York, one of which has just been through a breakup and the other who is only there for the summer. And basically they have a meet cute and things keep going wrong. I get the impression they have multiple first dates and it just never works out. I know it gets really mixed reviews. But I mean, it's set in New York, which I'm dying to visit and love reading about.
I've actually been to New York now. I went last year. I loved it. I was meant to go back this year. Unsurprisingly, with the world as it is, that did not happen. But yes, still big fan of New York. Like, I know this book gets really mixed reviews. I still think it was really cute. I really loved the ending of it especially. I do see why people don't necessarily love it, but I had fun with it. I like fun books sometimes.
It has something to do with musicals, which are pretty much the biggest obsession in my life. And it's a romance and meet cute, and I absolutely cannot wait to get to it. It sounds amazing. It'll probably end up being one of my favourite reads of the year, and I really, really cannot
Yeah, I think it probably was.
The one thing I'm really unsure about this book is what sort of tone it's going to be. From what I've read, Adam Silvera's books are about as sad as a contemporary can get, and Becky Albertalli's always seem to end up very happy, so I mean, I'm actually really excited to read a book that has something written by Adam Silvera and hopefully doesn't end in absolute heartbreak.
It's too true. Yeah, as I just said, I loved the ending of this book, and that was actually the epitome of a perfect in-between between these two authors, with this level of hope and positivity, but it doesn't have the stereotypical happy ending, which is one of the reasons I loved the book so much. So they balanced that really well. I love that though, just like Adam Silvera's writing but not tearing my heart out, which I think is pretty much what this book did.
And just as a final note to make this book even more exciting, the title is a reference to one of my favourite musicals, Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah,
it's a line from one of the songs, Only Us, and that's, oh, I just love it. Little musical theatre references in a YA contemporary book written by two of my favourite authors. It doesn't get better than that.
I'm laughing too much at the fact that I was just musical obsessed here and the fact that I've made a musical theatre book tag since coming back onto BookTube. I have not changed at all as a person. Not a bit. Not one bit.
So that is it for my 5-star / favourite book predictions, and as I've said, I'm so excited to get to all of these. Who knows when I'll get to them? I have so many books I want to read, but hopefully it'll be soon. True. Or even if not, I should love them whenever I get to them.
Okay, so that was pretty much the whole video, so I feel like that was pretty good. I've read all but one of them, and I think all of them I gave a 4-star or above that I had read, so that's not bad at all. I'm actually pretty happy with that. I really thought there were going to be some of them I hadn't read, honestly. As in, like, there was one, but I thought there'd be more. I don't trust myself. But that was really interesting. I'm quite impressed by my predictions. So spot on with Strange the Dreamer. That was by far my best prediction. The other ones I mentioned were just kind of what was big at the time, which is understandable. I had not been reading for that long. I think I'd just about been reading for 6 or 7 months when I made that video, so I didn't really know my tastes. I didn't really know how to find out about books, whereas now I follow so many people that read all sorts of different things that I find out about way more different types of books. So hopefully my next selection of these, which I will make a video of soon, so you'll see that, I don't know, in the next week or two maybe, hopefully there'll be a more varied selection instead of just the really popular YA books, though I'm sure some of those will feature. But I think it's really interesting to see how my reading has changed over the last 2 years. And I'm pretty proud of young me for doing quite well on that. But that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Are there any 5-star predictions you've made in the past? Have you read them? Have you enjoyed them? Were you completely wrong? Because like, these ones I've done pretty well on. The number of times I've read a book and thought when I'm starting it that it's going to be 5 stars and I've hated it too many. So this was a lucky selection of ones that I picked well. But that's it. So leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, comment down below, let me know about your 5-star predictions, subscribe if you'd like to see more content from me. All my other social medias are linked in the description below, as they always are. But bye, and I'll see you in the next one.